Hi, I'm Mike Gilliam, and welcome to a special Encore edition of A Slice of New York. We recently won a prestigious Telly Award for our episode focusing on a uniquely New York holiday tradition, and we're proud to bring it back to you once again. Every summer, something special takes place in Brooklyn. It's an event you'll only find in New York, and people come from all over the world to take part in it or simply to watch it unfold. It's the Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest on the 4th of July at Coney Island. Part sporting event, part spectacle, and all New York, it's truly something to behold. Check it out.
They say that competitive eating is the battleground upon which God and Lucifer wage war for men's souls, my friends, and they are right, for this is a battle of the ages.
It's a spectacle like no other. The corner of Surf and Stillwell Avenues transformed from this to this, the Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest.
We are the strong, and we are the fast, and we are the free, and we may be knocked out by forces of man or nature, but we will never submit. We will never submit. So it is, and so it always shall be. Let the contest begin!
The contest started small, but over the years it has grown, in large part due to George Shea, who got involved in the 90s, taking it to new heights.
It is an honor to all those now living to behold this man. He is the granite rock that is America.
The PR man slash host slash huckster changed everything. He took competitive eaters and turned them into larger-than-life characters with his nicknames and his gift of gab.
When we are young, we drink our coffee with milk and sugar. And as we age, we drink it with milk only. Then we drink it black, then we drink it decaf, then we die. Our next eater is at decaf. But he has established a legacy of greatness that will last forever. He is the Spam eating champion of the world. 6 pounds in 6 minutes. Ranked number 13 at 74 years of age from Las Vegas, Nevada, Rich Lefevre!
He nurtured and developed their stories, doing things like rapping with Badlands Booker.
He's a tough entertainer extraordinaire, the one who eats to the beat with the flash and flare. Each out of house or home, no thought or care, fridge empty, cupboards bare, the one that rips snacks out of school backpacks, looking over your shoulder like Michael Jackson. He'll be there, eating like Pac-Man, digging in your candy dish. Yo, it's a rap son.
Yo, who beat this? Badlands, baby. No ifs, ands, or babies devour like crazy. I'm like the dog in the Looney Tune, baby. Getting this thing and be like, what? No gravy?
He added what he called the Brooklyn Community Choir, injecting even more energy into the spectacle. And it continued to grow. They even have a deal with ESPN.
What's it going to take from you to win this thing today?
Bringing the spectacle into the homes of millions. The contest has been big for nearby businesses. Eric Haddad's family has owned the Coney Island Beach Shop next to Nathan's for more than 30 years. So you guys sell a lot of the Nathan's stuff here, right?
Yeah, a whole lot. Here, if you look over here, for example, we have this shirt, Nathan's. This one people like, that's how I roll. And it's just the condiments over there. This is the original logo over here, and then that's the one from the hot dog eating contest.
How about that hot dog hat?
Hot dog hat sells out so fast we don't even have it now.
Really?
Yeah. People just come in all day asking for those hot dog hats.
Really?
Yeah, all day.
And all that excitement rolls from Nathan's to the boardwalk. The rapper, Gorilla Nems, is one of many fans.
It's a spectacle. It's not something you see every day. It's, you don't usually see guys and girls stuffing 70 hot dogs in their mouth in 10 minutes. It's, it's become a staple In New York, a 4th of July staple. So it's like an American staple, not only Coney Island.
I think it's amazing. I just don't understand how people can fit that much food into their stomachs.
It's a great vibe. It's families from all over the country, all over the state. You get locals, you get little kids, you get entourages of the eaters cheering and yelling. It's a great day, no matter what walk of life you're from. Everybody is here to hang out together. It's wild but fun at the same time.
All right, joining me now, the guy that runs the show and exemplifies the Nathan's hot dog eating contests as much as the contestants themselves, the host and master of ceremonies and the founder of Major League Eating, George Shea. George, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Talk to me a little bit. How did you get started in all of this?
Well, I worked for the craziest press agent ever who had a lot of clients in Coney Island, Morty Matz, the dean of press agents. He's still alive, 101. Wow. And he and his partner had started the hot dog contest in 1972. It was a very small contest. When I did it, it was very small out there, 20 people maybe, 2 cameras. And then I just built it and created International Federation of Competitive Eating, now Major League Eating, and it just built and built. Now it's on ESPN, and you have just many tens of thousands of people. It's a whole different thing, but it's sort of grown.
Mm-hmm. What was the thought process for you when you decided to kind of take this stuff on?
Well, you know, I still do a ton of business-to-business PR, which is very rewarding, but not a lot of fun. And that was always the way it was. So on the 4th of July, I just used this as a way to have fun. And that's what Coney Island is about, right? You can say and do anything you want. And so for me, my thought process was, here is an outlet to do some stuff that's crazy and fun and funny. People will laugh.
Mm-hmm. And then you wanted to do more, though, so that's when you kind of formed Major League Eating. Your brother's involved as well, right?
My brother Richard is my partner, as is Dave Baer, and they are brilliant people, much better business people than I am. Very funny, too.
You're a creative.
Well, I know how to yell on stage. That's what I do. But they worked with me. We just thought, here's an opportunity. There was not a business plan. It was just, what would be funny? What would people react to? What would people write about? And so we did one thing after another, following this sort of league mentality, right? We had rankings, we had all these kinds of things. And what was funny was the response from the media was so great that the public picked up on it, and it just sort of created this whole platform that we have now.
Can you spot a guy that can win just by looking at him?
No. And here's the thing, we always used to think it'd be the big, heavy guy, the Bluto type, who'd be the best eater. Ed Croce, one of our original champions, was that big sort of guy. And then the Japanese came, and they were tiny, but they had practiced, they had learned about the techniques needed to get the hot dogs down, and they blew everybody away. So I cannot tell just by the look of a man or a woman how much they can eat. It's really about how much they've thought about the process.
Mm-hmm. For George Shea, what's it like when you're up there emceeing this thing, introducing these guys?
For me, it's absolutely my favorite day of the year. Very intense. It's live on ESPN, so I've memorized all these introductions, and I have to deliver them, and you can't mess up. And so the tension's high, but it's fantastic, and the audience is 100% with you. Like, they are there to have fun. When you're involved with a crowd like that, there's a feeling like none other.
Mm-hmm. What about the competitors? What's it like to work with these people?
They're great people, but you know what's funny? They take this very, very seriously. So a lot of the fans come and it's just a lark, right? Mm-hmm. But for these eaters, they take this very seriously. Most of them train, most of them prepare. They think about, how do I separate the hot dog from the bun? How do I eat? How do I make sure I'm breathing correctly when I'm doing this? How do I get that volume down safely? And that's, it's not a joke to them. They're really trying.
Mm-hmm. Is it safe?
It is safe, but in any sport or anything like that, you have to take care. We always have emergency medical technicians. Obviously, everybody's 18. We have a bunch of safety protocols in place so that we've never had an incident.
Mm-hmm. From all of the competitions that you've actually emceed and taken part in, what's the one moment that sticks out in your mind?
Well, there's no question about that. When Joey Chestnut beat Kobayashi in 2007 to bring the mustard belt back to the United States, that was one of the greatest days in history, and certainly for me. And I got up on the table and I said, USA, USA, USA. And I was criticized for that by Kobayashi because I should have been above partisanship. But on the 4th of July, I'm an American. What can I tell you?
Oh, absolutely. So you're a Brooklyn guy now, right? You're from Maine originally, but now are you kind of a Brooklyn guy?
Well, you can see that's the street vibe. That's the Brooklyn street vibe you're getting. Yes, I'm from Maine, from Bangor, Maine, and came here in 1982. I've been here ever since. I've lived in Brooklyn since 2000. So I love Brooklyn.
Family man?
Yes. I have a wife and 2 kids, and my son is 26. My daughter's 23. They both live in Manhattan. They're living the life.
All right. That's good stuff there. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more inside the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest with a couple of fan favorites, Crazy Legs Conti and Eric Badlands Booker. This is A Slice of New York. Welcome back. I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is A Slice of New York. When it comes to showdowns like the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, you can't help but wonder, who are these people who can eat dozens and dozens of hot dogs in 10 minutes? How do they do it, and why? Let's find out. Joining us now, we have Crazy Legs Conti. That's his legal name. He won his first eating competition by downing over 400 oysters before becoming a Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest regular. And the guy he calls an inspiration, the one and only Eric Badlands Booker. He holds 7 Major League Eating world records and 3 Guinness World Records. And talk about chugging, he's chugged a gallon of lemonade in, how fast, man?
It was 21 seconds.
21 seconds. Jeez. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Let me ask you, Eric, how'd you get started in competitive eating?
Well, back in 1997, I went to my local Nathan's in Oceanside, and I saw a poster with Uncle Sam with a frank in his hand saying, "I want you to enter the Nathan's Hot Dog Contest." And I asked the manager there, "When is this contest going to come?" He just said, just be here June 21st, get here 15 minutes early, talk to a man named George Shea. So I did that, and George was like, "Oh, we got to put you right here, right in the center, right?" And so he put me right in the center, and you know, there was a couple of people who was trash. There was one guy who was trash talking, but he went and ordered like a full meal before the contest. And I'm like, well, he might have a lot of capacity, but you know, we'll see what happens when the smoke cleared.
So you guys have been fast friends ever since then, right?
Oh, yes.
1997.
1997.
That's when history began.
Okay. How about you, Crazy Legs? How'd you get started?
I was in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. I'm from Boston originally, but I've lived in New York 30 years. Patriots were in. I didn't have a ticket, and I was eating oysters at Felix's, and I looked down the counter, and a guy who kind of looks like me now, like King Neptune, was just eating them as fast as they were shucking them. I said, "How many has anybody ever eaten at once?" They said across the street, the Acme Oyster House, the record's 33 dozen. If you eat 34 dozen oysters, they're free. I'd summered in Maine eating all the lobster. I'd gone to school in Baltimore eating Chesapeake Bay crabs, but to be able to afford to eat all the oysters I could. So I went across the street. It took about 3.5 hours, and I broke the record. And then the then IFOCE, the International Federation of Competitive Eating, called. I was already a fan. And they had a speed eating contest down there, sponsored by Acme. So I went back, and I'm the once and maybe not future Oyster King, but the 2002 Oyster Championship was my first contest, and I won the oyster belt.
I got to ask you, man, how many Maryland crabs can you eat?
Oh, I would just do I do a half a bushel and a case of Natty Bo beer, but that's as a casual diner.
That's good. Eric, talk to me a little bit about what you do in the 24 hours leading up to one of these contests.
Well, in the 24 hours leading, I would just like eat like a very light breakfast, you know what I'm saying? You know, something with a lot of protein in there, you know, and then, you know, I just wouldn't eat until the contest, you know, probably like take sips of water to stay hydrated, maybe a protein shake before bed, but, you know, eat very light and then just get my mind focused, you know, the day of, you know, just like visualize what I'm going to do, stay hungry and focused, as I say. And, you know, get ready for the contest.
How about you, Crazy? Like, what do you do?
Well, you know, Joey Jaws Chestnut is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I think of Takeru Kobayashi as the greatest, putting the sport on the map. So I actually do a large bowl of ramen, which kind of stretches out the stomach, but doesn't necessarily fill you up, and kind of honors the past of Nathan's great champions, and then looks to the future. So I try to stretch out with a little big bowl of ramen.
Okay. Do you train during the year? How do you get ready for this? I mean, the average guy can't just go there and eat like 50 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Well, you got to have 4 things to do well competitively. You got to have a good stomach capacity, good strategy, you got to have stamina, and you got to have a focused mind. So, you know, basically I stay hydrated, drink a lot of water, you know, eat lots of vegetables to, you know, keep my stomach nice and stretched out.
What kind of vegetables? Like lettuce or something?
I make like a nice little kale salad. You know, kale is very fibrous, and you know,
how little is little?
I'll say about a good 3 bushels. I go to the supermarket, get like 3 bushels, cut them up, you know what I'm saying, add some avocado, you know, little vinaigrette, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and just go to town.
How about you?
Well, you know, the stomach can fill up, but the mind never can. So a lot of it is mind over stomach matter. So I do a lot of pre-visualization. I want to know where I'm going to be mentally, physically, emotionally, every bite, chew, and swallow. And on a good year, Major League Eating might have 50 contests a year. I don't eat in all of them, but I don't need to train for strawberry shortcake. You know, those are guilt-free calories when I'm at Mattatuck, Long Island, and eating 5-6 pounds of strawberry shortcake. But a lot of it is technique. You want to figure out the best technique. Recently, I tried to not separate the bun and dog. I was dunking it in Tang, good enough for the astronauts, good enough for my hot dog buns, and that didn't really work out. So a lot of it is talking to great eaters like Badlands Booker and trying to come up with ways to just kind of mentally psych yourself up. Because once you've eaten in front of people 3 or 4 contests as a rookie, you kind of know the deal. And then each food is a element unto itself. But the key is to block out the eater to your left and right, the fireworks, the crowd, and just focus on your plate and your plate alone.
If someone were to come to you, George, and say, hey, I'm thinking about getting into competitive eating, what would you say to them?
Well, you know, it's much more difficult than you think. Just because you can eat, you know, 6, 8 slices of pizza on Friday night does not mean you're going to be a great competitive eater. The duration of these contests is very short, 10 minutes. So the technique, the strategy, and sort of that focus, which with both of these great eaters have been talking about, is critical. So but another thing I would say is, get ready for fame, and maybe fortune, some fortune, but get ready for fame at very least, because the number of media and fans at an event is actually a big factor. It creates anxiety for a lot of people, and we have eaters who are fantastic eaters, but who sort of fry out from all of the focus, right? You're on the 4th of July in Coney Island, and there are 300 members of the media and thousands of people, and it freaks some people out.
Badlands, why do you do this?
I do it because I love it. You know, I mean, I've always been a big eater, you know what I'm saying, and I like to stay hydrated, and it's just fun, you know. You go out there, you know, you do a sport that you're good at, and you know, it's just you know, you do it for the people, they love it, and you hear the roar of the crowd when you go out with Nathan's. It's just amazing. I just have a, you know, a passion for it.
Is this your only job, your main job, or?
Oh no, well I've been a conductor on the subway for 32 years. I recently retired a year ago, and now I do, you know, YouTube social media full time. You know, I have you know, nice following on YouTube and TikTok.
How many followers?
I got 3.6 million on YouTube and 3.9 on TikTok.
Wow. How about you, Crazy Legs?
I own 3 typewriters, so I'm.
I bet you're banging out good stuff.
I'm a bit of a troglodyte. I've sent a lot of postcards, though. I really, I love it. I was a fan of the sport before I started. I played 3 sports, Division III in college, but I was just better at the pregame meal than the actual athletic endeavor. So for 23 years, I've been on the Major League Eating circuit, and you know, I love the Marx Brothers. They did vaudeville. They'd travel everywhere, and Groucho Marx would meet, you know, soldiers or people, and they'd say, oh, you've never heard from where I'm from, and this tiny town, and he would know like the sandwich shop on the corner. I feel like this has been a great way to explore the world one bite at a time. So I'm not going to hang up the esophagus anytime soon, even though my my numbers are dwindling a little bit, but I've been to the Nathan's Famous contest 16 times, and I like everything Major League Eating puts on the plate.
You guys are killing me. George, let me ask you, are there cash prizes involved in Nathan's, or how's that all work?
So most of our events have a cash prize purse of between $4,000 and $10,000. So the eaters will whack that up. And then the Nathan's contest has a stated purse of $20,000 for the men and $20,000 for the women. However, there are appearance fees that go much, much higher.
Oh, okay. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll meet a woman who is an eating champion, Miki Sudo. This is A Slice of New York. Welcome back. I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is A Slice of New York. We're talking competitive eating, and specifically the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Women compete too, and there's none better than Miki Sudo. She's undefeated in the women's competition with a 10-year winning streak dating back to 2014, only taking a break 1 year during pregnancy. She set a record for the contest in 2024 by eating 51 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Miki joins us via Zoom. Hey, Miki, how'd you get started in the world of competitive eating?
Oh, okay. I mean, we always say that, you don't choose competitive eating, it'll choose you. And that's basically what happened to me. I tried my hand at a man versus food type of challenge, and I got talked into doing my first ever contest. Long story short, I enjoyed early success, and here we are, like you said, over a decade later.
Wow, the first time out, you killed it, right?
Yeah, I was the first person to hit 40 hot dogs in a qualifier once it became a 10-minute event. So, I mean, even, regardless of whether I was competing with men or women, I really pushed the boundaries, and it's been a really fun journey.
Mm-hmm. I've often wondered, like, when you meet people for the first time and you tell them what you do, I'm a competitive eater and I can knock down 50 hot dogs, how do they react?
I mean, it's not exactly how I introduce myself.
Right.
I think people have more questions. I mean, that one statement just raises so many more questions that it answers. Yeah, I think there are a lot of misconceptions about competitive eating, but it's a fun fact to just pull out of my back pocket.
How about you, Eric? When you first tell people what you do in the competitive eating world, how do they react to that?
Oh, they say, oh, that's amazing, you know what I'm saying? And they want to know more about it. They ask me all types of questions, related to the sport, and so I'm very knowledgeable, and I'm happy to oblige.
Mm-hmm. Miki, what are some of the other things that you've eaten in competition?
I mean, guys, it's a pretty interesting list. I hold records in ice cream, kimchi, Minnesota hot dish, fish balls, slices of cheese, like you said, hot dogs.
This is a big part of your life, the competitive eating circuit. In fact, as the story goes, and I'd like for you to tell it, you met your husband through this, correct?
I did. So it's very on brand. We were the only two weirdos working out at about 4 a.m. on the morning of the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. So we're both in the gym, the hotel gym where they put us up. And I was doing cardio and I introduced myself. It wasn't until way later that we started dating, but competitive eating's introduced me to my husband, and we now have a beautiful family together. I've made some amazing friends, some of whom are in studio with you right now. So it's been a huge part of my life.
Wow, you have a child. Do you think that child will grow up to eat?
Max loves food, but I'm not really going to encourage him to do competitive eating.
I often wonder what it's like on the women's circuit. Are you guys like all friends? Is there some camaraderie there? Tell me about the women's circuit.
Absolutely. Michelle Lesko has been my friend for as long as I've been competing. For the longest time, I lived in Las Vegas and she lived in Arizona. So we would we would just see each other frequently throughout the year.
Mm-hmm. How about you guys?
It's like we're the Avengers, and we just descend on a town where the contest is. We're all in fight mode, preparation mode, right? But there's no friends during the framework of competition. It's, may the best eater prevail. But oh yes, we are a wonderful big family.
Do you have fans that seek autographs and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I think everybody eats, but very few. You know what it's like to eat one peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but only Pat Dish Bertoletti knows what it's like to eat 52 in 8 minutes. So the fans come out, and when we're in other cities, they want to direct us to their favorite restaurants and places to eat. There's not a lot of room after you've eaten competitively, but I ate 49 Crystal burgers. And then people were like, you got to go to Dwyer's. There you have all these, you ate 4, 6 burgers at Dwyer's. I'm like, I'll eat one. That's my 50th burger of the day, but that's it. But it is it's great to see the fans come out, and it's great.
Miki, is there a kind of a, on the women's circuit, is there kind of a disconnect there though? Because a lot of people, me included, you're always worried about watching what you eat and watching your physique and all that sort of thing. But yet we have people here who are able to eat, 50 hot dogs and stuff. Is there a disconnect there?
I mean, that might be one of the reasons why we see fewer women compete. But honestly, if I was self-conscious about anything, in all the time I've been doing this, I've been self-conscious about possibly losing or not performing well. Not once have I thought, oh, I'm going to be photographed with, barbecue sauce on my face, or, I might put on a few pounds. No, I'm incredibly competitive. I'm adventurous and competitive. So, so the self-consciousness that you've described isn't really something that crosses my mind. But with that said, it might be something that holds some women back, and I just hope to see it, the sport grow on the women's side as well.
Yeah, I guess it's really not part of the whole game,
Yeah, it's competitive eating, not competitive prettiness.
Yeah, okay. That's going to have to do it for this special encore presentation of our award-winning episode of A Slice of New York. I want to thank all of our guests for taking us behind the scenes of this iconic New York event, the Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest, Crazy Legs Conti, Badlands Booker, Miki Sudo, and the great George Shea. And congratulations once again to our entire production team on receiving a prestigious Telly Award for this episode. Most of all, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on A Slice of New York.